True or false, Seth Jones is a King of Queens guy?
True. Love King of Queens.
You're decreasingly online these days, social media-wise and everything, but did you see the Kevin James meme?
I have not. Which one is that?
It's just this. Have you seen it?
No.
People use it
I'm
for
not on it at all.
everything. It's a picture of Kevin James, hands in his pocket, just looking up with those kind of classic Doug Heffernan eyes. And I was going to ask if you would use that as a goal celebration, like launch one from the point, hands in pockets.
I got to score this year first, but then we could talk about that after. Yeah,
I like that you like that show, though. I didn't know that.
it's a great show.
It's a great show.
It's a baseline
classic.
Like you can't not like it.
Like a
show.
Seinfeld-ish. Like
The father-in-law
Just
was the
old
best, though. Like,
Oh, Jerry
Yeah, the father-in-law.
Jerry
Yeah,
Stiller, yeah.
yeah.
R.I.P.
yeah, yeah, God bless.
Nick, you're kind of brought here to be the Jerry Stiller for this team. You got so many kids on the team, and obviously you've been a captain and you've been a leader, be it Columbus, Boston, wherever. What happens when you don't like a guy?
They know.
Really? Do that?
Yeah. If I don't talk to you, that's not a good sign.
And that's
'Cause I
their
talk to
Because he talks to everybody.
and that's their problem.
Yeah,
right?
it's their problem. It's not
Kevin,
mine.
there's a story of Kevin Garnett when he first got to Boston, and he's kind of supposed to slide in Paul Pierce's team or whatever. Second practice, goes up to Rajon Rondo and goes, "I don't like you, and I can tell nobody else here likes you. Change whatever you're about because no one here likes you."
That's actually
I mean, you don't have to
I
drop
haven't
any
heard that
names.
story.
We'll cut
KG,
it out. But
wow.
anybody you've disliked the least?
no,
No.
not that I can say on here.
We'll cut it. It's
Besides
fine.
me,
Yeah.
it's not really many
No,
guys.
no, I actually don't. I don't dislike people. There's people that you're gonna get something out of every night, and there's some guys you got to push along, but that's the way it goes. That's the game.
As an older guy and as like a leader, obviously you play a role in this team to kind of like shepherd in some of the younger guys, and you've been playing that role for a little bit. At what point in your career did you kind of like accept that and like transition into not only taking responsibility for kind of taking care of yourself and performing, but also kind of being that leader for those guys?
Yeah, I don't know when it actually happened. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it was more organic than just forced. Sometimes it's like, here's your role, and you're like, oh, I'm not ready for that. But I know in Columbus, we always had young teams. I think we had a core that I was really proud of, and we really grew something there. And, so you're excited about, bringing guys into the fold and making them understand, okay, this is how we do things. And it just seemed to really work. And then as things kind of started to tether a little bit, I remember that was kind of the harder part, is just, now is a lot of energy was exerted that way, where it was just always trying to get guys. So I think maybe that just naturally happened, where it was always trying to teach and bring guys in. And it just, it can get tiring, and it's something that I enjoy doing. I really do. I love it. I love that you can come into a group and really try to make guys gel. I think it's one of the beautiful parts of the game of hockey. There's so many guys coming from different parts of the world, and if you can find a way to get them all to come together and try to accomplish something, I think it's one of the best things, especially when you see your team get better and better every week or every month. And so that's what I'm excited about doing here with Jonesy and the crew.
There's been quite a bit of attention paid to your relationship with Connor and kind of shepherding him into the league. Has there been any moment so far that you've been like, damn, this kid is really like 18 years old?
Oh my God, yeah, like every day.
Is
I feel
it?
like, yeah, just like you try to have little conversations. Like, I find I'm schooled outside of hockey, right? And so you bring up things. He had no idea who Pearl Jam was, no clue, which just offended me.
First concert.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. Just even, and you realize, like, listen, when I was 18, I get it. I remember being obsessed with the game of hockey. And then as you kind of get in this league, you learn from other guys and you get cultured a little bit. You start to likes, dislikes, and but when you're coming up, all you think about is hockey. That's your dream, is to get to the NHL. So you don't really think about what are my extracurriculars like. And so I have to remind myself of that, because I even, I'll ask him, like, what TV shows you watch? He's like, I watch sports and talk shows about sports. And I'm like,
No TV shows. Yeah, it's all sports,
no Netflix.
all hockey.
But some could take that the wrong way, or it's like, no, I get it. When I was 18, man, I think I had the NHL on the fly on loop in my house, right? Like that's just, you were consumed by it because you were so, like, I was excited every day coming to the rink. Like, this is the NHL, Mm-hmm. So now as you've been in it, it's fun to maybe teach him, all right, well, it's important also to get away from it too. So it's neat that it's kind of that relationship. And, he's a great kid. He really is. And for what he's had to deal with, I think we've both been impressed with how he's handled himself. And he loves being in the room. He really does.
A lot of pressure on one single 18-year-old. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
He's handling it very well.
Seth got to pull him into the film room and be like, sit down. That's Kevin James. That's Leah Remini. That guy there, Jerry Stiller.
Jerry Stein. Yeah.
Don't get too comfortable. He's not going to be there forever, but you're going to love him.
Yeah.
He'd probably honestly think that's the worst show ever.
Yeah.
King of Queens.
Yeah.
He would probably
He'd be like, what's the point of this?
He'd be like, this is not funny at all.
Yeah.
So we're sitting down with him, and you're talking to a couple of ace interviewers, but we also see like a game in we've never seen the kid laugh. So like, how do we make Connor Bedard laugh? And that's not in a like there's not a personality there, because clearly he's super affable and he does so much to represent the game of hockey. But does he get with you guys when he's in the room loose? Does he like busting chops? Does he like having his own chops busted?
He does get loose a little bit. You kind of have to give it to him. You have to poke him a little bit, and then he'll start. Like today, he missed a couple passes in practice. He whiffed on a shot, and I was like, "You have a couple pops last night," knowing that he didn't, obviously.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me. He's just
Kind of hoping he did.
shook his head. I'm trying to get him to smile out there, but he does get going in the room a little bit. You just have to
Chirp the
open him up.
WHL too.
Chirp the WHL.
Yeah, he loves.
I don't. These guys chirp.
It's
it.
so funny.
Best development league in the world.
Big
Best
brother
development league in
comes
the
to his
world.
defense over
Yeah,
here
I
every
mean,
time. Like, what the hell's that?
Nick, you're an OHL guy. It is so funny that like
Best league, yeah.
That in the Nick Foligno Connor Bedard relationship, that Bedard's the WHL guy, because although you're gonna ride for your league, you've got way more WHL energy than Connor will.
Grind, dump it in. Is that what you mean? Yeah.
No, I like
Just a hard NHL player. I get it.
get in there.
Yeah.
He's not a soft
Yeah.
guy in the.
I've called you Jerry. We have like a fourth or fifth insult. For
Yeah,
you
this
up here.
is,
We're gonna get to it.
This is. I'm about to walk out here.
I was
now.
gonna say we're just seeing how long it takes for you to just be like, I'm
I
done with
actually
this.
thought I was a college guy more, but I agree with that. But I always give it to him, make him understand that. As unfortunately as the league has gone on, it's gotten softer since I've left the OHL. But it's good to see that the Dub is still the second best league in the.
Does it help for you guys? I know that NHL involves so much projection, and if you're a first round pick, it's not like in, say, the NFL where you arrive the next day and you're supposed to be a Hall of Famer. But there is a burden to being the top prospect, to being the first round pick, where even if there's a lot of good, you played with Patrice Bergeron, sweetest guy in the world, isn't crazy about doing media, but gladly does it because he wants to be a good ambassador for the game and for his team. How do you do that when you're young, when you probably just want to fucking play games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ever since, even before the draft, I mean, this whole year he's played in the Dub. I mean, it's probably been every day media. And then the summer, the draft, you go to the finals, if you're a top pick. NHL has you doing things all over the place. He went to media tour. We went together to Vegas before the year. So every day has been media for him, and he just wants to get on the ice. He just wants to play hockey. But he also understands that it is part of it. It's part of the pressure. It's part of, the city. Everyone wants to hear what you have to say off the ice. And, he's one of the most mature 18-year-olds
Never
for the
complains.
position. Never complains about anything. Has never came in after an hour of media and been like, holy shit, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's just
actually
straight.
impressive.
It's straight. Just wants to play hockey, and he understands that people are going to ask things of him. And I think as he goes on, he'll start to understand some things he can say no to. And as you know what I mean, as you grow up a little bit, you kind of get that leniency. But he's never even batted like an eye to an interview or anything.
You've said
Pretty impressive.
that Connor McDavid is the hardest player you've played against, which tons of people will disagree with that. That guy is whatever. But like, was there a moment with Bedard, even before maybe the lottery, where you're like, fuck, I'm going to have one of those guys on my team?
Yeah, I mean, he's generational. I mean, you watch all his highlights from last year, and it's just incredible. The moves he's making, the dekes he's making. I mean, his shot's unbelievable. It's almost hard to put into words. What did he have, 160 points last year, 70 goals in 70 games? World
Sounds like
Juniors,
my
he was
junior.
unbelievable.
Sounds
So
like my
he's
junior
just
years.
really pushing expectation every time he steps on the ice.
You're like, we're not so different. No.
That's why we connected so
Well,
well.
You had 70 PIMs in 70
that
games.
was sick,
Yeah. But I mean, I mentioned the first round pick thing, and obviously, like, even from year to year, first overall doesn't necessarily equal first overall with the same hype and everything. But like, you were there to an extent of like going through the draft process, being the big name, getting everybody being all excited about you. There's got to be a wealth of information that you have of like, hey, this part of it is real.
Yeah.
This part, don't fucking listen, right?
Yeah. No, I think so. I think I think you have to come to that on your own though too, right? As much as people tell you, I think you have to experience it, and that's the only way. And that's what's hard is like you're trying to help a kid who honestly none of us have had this experience, but do have experiences within the league that first year of like, all right, it's a hard league. You know, don't forget, like every guy has been a great player and come into a team and found his role, but they've all either been the top players in whatever junior team they come from, top players from whatever college team they've come from. So, you know, you can't disrespect the league either and just think you're going to step in and be unbelievable. Even Connor McDavid, they all have to find their way at certain points. Don't get me wrong, they've dominated. Sid dominates, but so will Connor as he gets to go. But you gotta respect the league too. And I think that's something that I was always taught when I came in was like, respect the league. It's you know, you are very privileged, and I think that if you have that gratitude when you play and that joy, and it's amazing how you can kind of find your way through all the hard parts, because there's going to be hard parts no matter how good you are. There's lulls in the seasons. There's guys are targeting you. You're not sure how to do that. You got world-class defensive forwards playing against you that you've never had before, right? So I think that's what's neat for him is he's learning the game and learning the game within the game. And, you know, it's fun for us to be able to give him those little tidbits of information as we go. But I remember that. I had great veterans around me to help me. And, you know, you're trying to be that now because you realize what we're working towards. You know, it's the goal of trying to win. And if you can help one of your best players become that player, your team's only going to benefit from it.
I love that his first goal was on a wraparound because for a young guy, anywhere around the house, like corner near the net, it's understandable. Like people are waiting for you to go anywhere near there so they can kill you. And he's just too.
He's not afraid. He goes right. Like I love that he attacks middle. We talk about that all the time. Like that's to me a sign of a good player. You watch him. Like he never tries to go wide. Like he's going through. And you know you get nervous sometimes.
Yeah, keep your head up. Yeah,
he's real aware of his surroundings. Right. Like it's impressive. And those are what great players do. You never see Connor. I mean, he can go wide because he can just go wide and embarrass you. But you see a lot of the great players, they take middle ice as soon as they can, and there's a reason
I
for it.
love that the definition of perfect player is like changing and expanding from year to year. Like, I don't know, like 10 years ago it was like Datsuk or whatever. And there's obviously it's training, it's nutrition, it's human evolution and everything. But just like the things that a complete player can have are just, it's wild now. Anyway,
I mean, it's been years since we've gotten best on best for international. If we had a tournament tomorrow, whether it's the Olympics, World Cup, whatever, what chances do you give the USA versus everybody else?
Well,
I mean, I'm U.S., so I would say high. I think our forwards are top notch right now. The defenseman we have, you know, Hughes, you have Matthews. I mean, it's crazy. And then back end, Slavin, Carlson, Fox. I mean, I think we're pretty loaded.
Now. You're putting the team together.
I'll help.
Put your name in there too.
I'm in there. Yeah,
put your name in there.
No, but I like the U.S. right now. I know Canada's
team.
kind of dominated the stage when it comes to best on best, but right now I think the U.S. has a lot of good young players and kind of entering their prime too, and we could definitely compete.
Do you want it as bad as everybody else does? Because I mean,
I know last Olympics everyone was so bummed. COVID kind of ruined it all, and we weren't able to go to China. But I know everyone wants it. World Cup was kind of a teaser. That was awesome. That was one of the best things I've ever done in my career.
I wanted to ask you about that.
He was obsessed with
I was
fucking
obsessed
team.
So was
with
I.
TNA.
Yeah. So was I. I mean, Johnny Hockey.
That was the most fun team to watch.
It was insane.
Your under 23 team or whatever.
We were so choked.
That
we
was
went
insane.
2-1, and we didn't make the semis. I think
The game versus Sweden was like maybe the best game that I've ever watched in like the last 10 years. Like McKinnon goal was unbelievable.
it's crazy to be out there in practice too. Just like your fourth line center was Couturier. You're like, what the hell is going on?
At 23.
They had some of the best uniforms that I've ever seen. Do you care about uniforms at all?
John Gibson was in that. Yeah, everyone does. Yeah, I think the Blackhawks have the best uniforms.
They're so fucking good.
They're just classic.
Yeah.
I love them.
Well, I mean, Portland too. Like
yeah,
you
the
just
same
had it
jersey in
twice.
Portland.
Yeah.
I've had it twice now. Yeah.
It is funny though, like people that are from outside of the States have this like idea of Americans that they're all just like slobs and do stuff. But like the four of us, I think like can show that like we're all well conditioned and professional athletes. 100%. And I think that we can kind of can show that that's wrong. Got to ask about your dad, Popeye, and mainly that now he's a coach, of course, for the Denver Nuggets. Congratulations
World
to
champ.
him.
World
champ.
Right.
What was that run like for you? Like, do you know Nikola Jokic? Do you know any of those guys?
I was able to meet him actually. I went to Game 3 in Miami in the finals, and so I was able to meet him. A couple of the other guys after the game, they ended up winning that game big. I kind of knew. I mean, they were just superior. I mean, Jokic, their bench was unbelievable. They were
Jamal
so
Murray.
deep this year. Jamal Murray, when he's playing, when he's averaging 25 in the playoffs, they're practically unstoppable.
What's a better parade performance, Jokic or Alex Ovechkin? I think Ovechkin's got to have like the best parade performance.
I think Ovi took the cake on that
Yeah,
one.
you think so?
Jokic just wanted to go home.
Well, he said that at first.
He didn't even want to
He
go.
said that at first, and then he was at the parade, and he was like, "I don't want to fucking go home." This
Yeah,
is
he's like,
the
wait,
best."
when's the parade? Thursday? Should be home by then, actually.
You guys are sleeping on Tom Brady trying alcohol for the first time. Remember when they?
That was
wild.
nice.
Through the Lombardi trophies, that one?
Yeah, on the boat.
Oh my God,
He
that was
almost
unreal.
dropped it, which
Yeah.
would be
So confident.
incredible. He mentioned Ovechkin. Who is the Nikola Jokic of the NHL? Initially, I thought it might be Chara when he played.
Yeah.
But Chara,
Same size.
same size.
yeah.
But Chara, that's like a careful. I mean, a carefully curated. Like
All
I am
about the
going to look
diet.
exactly like this. Jokic, I think, is more like it doesn't matter what I am, I win.
Mm-hmm.
So is that Ovechkin? Is that like who is that in the NHL?
Oh, man. I don't know.
I mean, my dad says that Jokic, he doesn't work out. He barely does, he doesn't even play basketball in the summer. Like, he barely picks it up. So I don't really know a player. I mean,
Sounds like pasta.
that's that.
Suck it, pasta.
How about How about Kessel? Because he's
Yeah,
like
that
it
guy's
doesn't
won-
make
that's 3
sense.
cups.
3 cups. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I love the
Famers.
The only thing, Phil's wild, but I play with him 16. He's actually stronger than people realize. I know what he looks like, but that guy, his legs, I mean, he could squat easily.
Iron
400,
Man.
500
So
pounds.
that's
He's
why I
insanely
love
strong.
Phil Kessel and why he's kind of like Jokic, where you're like, that doesn't make sense. Jokic physically, you look at and you say,
Yeah.
that makes sense, but like how
He's
he
like
gets
farm
there,
boy strong. Jokic
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
right?
it's like-
But like Kessel, that he looks like that and was routinely one of the best skaters in the NHL makes
wild.
hockey the insane thing that it is.
The NHL and like the culture around the NHL and hockey in general is like preaches humility and team first. And then when you look at the NBA, it's very star driven, and also it's just like an insane circus for most of the year. Is there anything that you look at with the NBA and like wish that it would kind of translate to the NHL and hockey?
like when it comes like media attention, or when it comes to just like the sport in general.
Like,
So like those guys go at each other on Twitter. Like we care a lot about what we say and how we're portrayed is the difference. I feel like they don't care. They'll say whatever they want in the media. If they win a game, they'll say it was all me tonight, which we would never say that. It's always
mean, it
team
is,
first.
like,
It's just a different
A lot of
culture.
times it is you. Oof.
talking to Seth Jones.
Yeah.
It's just a different culture. I don't know.
I remember there was a player with the team who tipped a shot, and it would have been the person who shot its hat trick goal, and
I heard
went
this
to the ref after and was like, "Hey, like you make sure I got that."
Who's that?
and
I know who it is.
he's
Is this on? Oh yeah, I heard this story.
and he was there maybe another year and a half or whatever, but from that moment, he was gone. I feel like that shit, not to say that it's the worst thing in the world or it's totally okay, but I feel like something that's like, hey, like I wanted this stat or whatever could be understood because maybe the next night the other guy is going to do that. But shit like that in hockey is.
I mean, Ricky Davis put a shot on his
Right.
own
I
net
just-
to get a triple double.
Yeah,
He literally did.
I was gonna say,
yes.
like, I think the only difference with our sport is you need everyone to win.
Such a
I was
team
gonna
I don't mean
game.
that. Like, I know the NBA, like they have their, but like, you can some
have
nights
LeBron,
some guy goes on fire
game.
and he can win the game, right?
50
like,
points
yeah,
and just-
50, 60
He can
points.
play
you're winning.
100% of the game,
And you
too.
can't take it from him. You can't go
You-
hit him and take the ball.
You
It's
know, like you get our like in our league, if you don't have every guy contributing or at least a line, or it's so much different because it really isn't you. I think you just realize that. Like, yeah, okay, I went off, I had 2 goals or 3 goals, but the passes that you got maybe were backdoor tap-ins, and you know, like I'm not getting that without that pass. So there's so much left to like your teammates. There's just so much that you're just appreciative. Like goalie, he might have a shutout. The team blocked 47 shots in front of him, right? And yeah, we're giving him a ton of credit. And then there's some nights where he bails you out too, and you're like, you did win us the game. A lot of nights, those guys are the ones that should go off on us. They should be the ones. Yeah, it was all me tonight, or these guys sucked, you know. But I think that's where the difference is. Is this you really do need everybody to win.
I mean, you look at Connor McDavid, he 150 points. I mean, he's practically LeBron of the league right now.
Yeah.
When it comes to just taking over a game by himself, 5 points a night, and I mean, it's not an automatic cup. Like, you know, LeBron's automatic finals.
Yeah.
He also has like the
It's just
third best player in the world.
Kept playing, yeah,
He's playing with hockey's
crazy. That's
Kevin
just
Durant.
nuts, yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
But it just goes to show you, it doesn't guarantee
You
you,
still
anything.
need a bunch of other guys to win. Yeah.
So I think that's why it's. But I'd like to like see some more pettiness sometimes. Yeah, probably. I would love to like call out other players or other.
Marshy,
like
he's really the only
Marshy's
guy.
actually it kind of gets you into the fire a little bit. Like Marshy will chirp a team or chirp a fan base, and you go in there and you're like, all right,
getting
we
booed the whole time, and
we gotta back this guy up. You know,
I mean,
So,
that sort of stuff is good for the league too. Like heels are good for the league. Like brings people in. I mean, I heard you in an interview say like you don't really like care about teams in the NBA, but like you'll watch the stars. That I feel like the NBA is largely driven by that with like name brand recognition. So like I feel like the NHL could benefit from that sort of freedom.
They push drama too.
Right.
I mean, guys ask for trades. I mean, I'm playing with a bunch of scrubs. Like they'll play it 1,000 times so that it's all over the news all day, every day.
James Harden
Even
shows
though,
up
like,
James
40
Harden.
pounds more.
Exactly.
But you know what's fucked is like we're the problem too, the media and fans, and this is good. Like obviously, hockey is doused in humility, empathy, and I love that. You see that with the pride tape stuff and everything. But in the NHL, if a player demands a trade, most of us react with like, "Oh, is everything okay?"
Yeah.
Like shit. Like, is it a family thing or
Yeah.
whatever? And if so, like, let's get you right, buddy.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But in the NBA, there's like, hey, I'd like to be traded. Who the fuck do you think you are?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it's odd.
Or it's like Damian Lillard. Please request a trade. Get out of there.
Get out of there.
So,
they're begging him.
Well, you guys are going to be good for a long time. You rock for sitting down with us. We really
thanks, guys.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Great
thanks a
catching
lot.
up. Thank you.
Appreciate it.